opened it, I came.
Hello and welcome to the Collective Minds podcast. Tonight, everybody, we have four of us. Actually, it is a whole group. You got me, Astral, you got Ledger, you got your boy Jay, and you got Thomas back in the house. How are you doing tonight, brother?
It's just fine. Myself, anyway.
Right on.
Yo.
Well, we're glad to have you back, man. It was a good one on the serial killer episode. Glad to see you. Glad to see you doing well. So tonight, to make Ledger happy, we're not doing any crime. We're not doing any politics, which he also loves. But we are going straight into cryptids, one that everyone has been wanting us to do for quite a while. It's kind of hard to do because it's kind of hard to dig into for the fact that the people that know all about it do not talk about it. It's part of their culture, their heritage. It is the Skinwalker, which in the Navajo culture, the Skinwalker is in fact a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. They are an evil, supernatural shapeshifter. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this. A lot of people have. I'd like to point out now, though, for the listeners, that even though it's hard to already find information about these creatures, about these cryptids, it's even harder now. And if you know about government transparency and not being very transparent, the entire internet is covered with the Skinwalker Ranch, which we're going to totally not talk about today because it actually has nothing to do with this, right? And we actually want to focus on the cryptid itself because there's a lot of stuff out there. This could be a quick episode. It could be a longer one. We'll see how it goes. There's not a lot about it because it pretty much just sums itself up.
The Skinwalker Ranch, isn't it mainly about grays?
So the Skinwalker Ranch has everything. It's
They're like aliens and stuff too.
aliens, Sasquatch, ghosts, skinwalkers, stuff we've never heard of. It's all
stuff.
Yeah, Jay, it's literally the paranormal. It's like a center of it. It's everything. It's a whole mix. It's like when you go to like a teenage party and they got the punch and you don't know what's in it. You know, it's got everything in it.
The punch.
But it's an interesting being. You're not supposed to say its name. You're not supposed to talk about it.
This is about
You're not
skinwalkers.
supposed to whistle.
Yes,
after
sir. Yeah, we'll get to that. So this witch is called Naldlushi. Naldlushi. That's what it is. Naldlushi, which you're definitely not supposed to say. By the Navajo, which translates to "with it, he goes on all fours." It is just one of the several types of Navajo witches and is considered the most volatile and dangerous. For the Navajo people, witchcraft is just another part of their spirituality and one of the ways of their lives. As such, witchcraft has long been part of their culture, history, and traditions. Witches exist alongside humans and are not considered supernaturals in these cultures. This is cool because witches have been here for thousands of years. We've covered witches a lot, right, Jay? Like we've hit witches over and over and over again. And it all ties into the same thing, which is every single type of people has some sort of kind of witch or what you could call a witch or define as a witch, which is creepy, really creepy. And these things aren't the cryptid that you would think it as being an animal.
Well, a witch is typically a evil being.
Especially in this one.
So, okay, hold on, man. So my dog just barked, but the only reason he barked, I don't know if it was because of
Dude,
the
I fucking
name,
heard that.
or if it was because of the sirens
said the
going off
name?
out there. But either way,
Yeah, that's a mad coincidence.
I mean, even if the sirens are going off when that name is said, that's a questionable thing.
Yeah, that was weird as fuck, dude. As soon as I said that, the name of it, I heard that. And I wasn't even sure if it was your dog. I was like,
Oh, I know.
that was weird. I heard a weird noise.
Yeah,
Those
as soon
dogs.
as he said that, I was like, yo. There's your dog started barking.
But we've covered witches for a while, and they go into every sort of human group all over the world. And that's interesting in itself that everyone would have some sort of witch person or, you know, different names and stuff. But I was thinking about that earlier and I was like, that's interesting because you think certain groups would try to block out that kind of negativity. Be like, nah, that's not true. There's not some weird, bad person, even if you don't like them, that's doing these things to you. But for some reason, every group has them, and scientists will try to, or psychologists will try to sit here and go, oh, it's the human mental state. They got to blame something on someone else. But I mean, when you look at the
psychosis,
the ends to the means, the psychosis, people killed thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people over shit like this.
Or religion.
Yeah. Look at World War II, right? That was almost a witch situation.
I'm not familiar with history. Yeah, that's Hitler, right? Okay, yeah, definitely like a possessed person behavior.
Well, when he killed the Jews, he was like, look, they're the bad ones, they're the gross ones, they're evil, they're bad. This is why we need to do this. That's a witch hunt.
Or it could be like Dahmer. He was just really horny.
Yeah. A horny Dahmer.
Like to my place, it's party hardy.
It's like, let's go back. Yeah, he's a witch. So for the Navajo people, witchcraft is just another part of their spirituality and one of the ways of their lives. As such, witchcraft has long been part of their culture, history, and traditions. Witches exist alongside humans and are not supernatural. The Navajo believe there are places where the powers of both good and evil are present, and that those powers can be harnessed for either. Medicine men utilize these powers to heal and aid members of their communities, while those who practice Navajo witchcraft seek to direct the spiritual forces that cause harm or misfortune to others. This type of Navajo witchcraft is known as the witchery way, which uses human corpses in various ways, such as tools from the bones and concoctions that are used to curse, harm, or kill intended victims. So these same people have this system of natural witchcraft that runs through their society, using it for good as well. So it's not some, like with other traditions of other people where it's all taboo. Spiritual magic is an actual thing in these tribes, and they use it to ward off evil and to heal people and to help people and all that good stuff.
What we said was witches use energy, and we are energetic beings, correct? So maybe skinwalkers and doing like these things to become a skinwalker could make it so maybe like I don't know how to explain it. So our energy could be off. So like, because they say that like in different articles and shit, they say, I'm gonna restart. Cut that all out.
Go ahead.
Okay, so witches are all energy beings, So are we.
They use energy.
Yeah, they use energy to do stuff. So people say that to become a skinwalker, you have to sacrifice, correct? So that could, by doing that and doing the sacrifices and becoming a skinwalker, could just mess with the energy, and then you're a different type of energetic being.
Harvesting energy
almost. Yes.
Or controlling it or directing it.
Like you're leveling.
You could have accidentally done it the wrong way and become a negative energy versus the energy you were intending to be.
Okay,
I think I get what you're saying.
Which goes into demons and demonic stuff.
Like right, a lot of times people do try to do
or
good
even
and
like
end
bad
up doing
witches.
Worse.
Yeah.
On accident. That's interesting.
Well, I think that's a big difference between alchemy and witchcraft, though, is because alchemy, there's like potions and stuff, there's ailments, or there could be poisons and things. Those are just regular understandings of things you could mix together. But witchcraft,
think about it. That
normally involves
mixing all those together,
something on it,
and all that creates an energy force.
For sure.
Everything around you is energetic. Is energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's the difference between the good and the bad, is one is utilizing the energy around them, the other one's trying to harvest and control and direct it.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Which I don't think it matters if you're directing it towards good or bad. It's still going to be bad in some way.
Or it could have a negative effect,
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
manipulating the natural cause of vibrations around you, energy. Definitely has its own effects.
Yeah, which doing that in general is bad because it's affecting something that isn't supposed to be inflicted.
You're breaking the natural orders of everything.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So it's kind of like the Mandela effect, if you think about it.
Right. Yeah, so different changes and stuff, and who knows what is real. So, yeah, that does make sense. What if one thing was only changed, Jay, from the world, and the Mandela effect is the cause of it? Just one kind of little change of something, and then you have all of these problems because of it.
I know, yeah. Like
if you kill a butterfly.
one little change can, like, remember those movies that presented time travel where the guy went back and did something, and then he went back to the future where he was his regular time, and everything changed drastically.
Like butterfly effect?
Is it butterfly effect?
Is that the one with Ashton Kutcher? Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going. Yeah.
But yeah, one little change could send ripples everywhere. Like
every time he went back into regular time too, it would just got worse pretty much, and he kept trying to go back and change it, and then he was like held responsible for all the bad stuff he basically had done by trying to change time. Yeah, that's absolutely damn.
Like there is a have you guys heard of the Hitler is it a riddle?
Or like a paradox or some shit?
Yeah,
he killed Hitler
paradox. Yeah, if you go back in time and kill baby Hitler,
yeah.
Would that mean you've stopped him from like massacring millions? Or does that mean someone else takes his place?
Well,
and did
I
worse.
feel like if that would happen, there was a Family Guy episode about it, and
right.
So there would be a lot of pharmacies and a lot of curly-headed people going around. Not just me.
Doctors, mathematicians. I don't know. You're trying. Or is this like a stereotypical concept from Family Guy or what?
Yeah, you know.
I don't know. I think the world might have been destroyed if history was disrupted in that way.
Especially, killing baby Hitler. I mean, we might have lucked the fuck out with Hitler. You know?
Well, no, I mean, like, I think that
think about Captain America.
Even though the tragedies that happened with what happened, I think it set the course in a certain direction. I think that nuclear power was in a certain way. The U.S. might be a total dictatorship at this point.
Well, Hitler was all into, and I'm only basing this on Captain America and the friggin' red mask or whatever, Red Skull. But
Red Skull, yeah,
yeah, like that is a scary concept to think that even in Hellboy too, they were talking about the same thing with the Nazis being into black magic and stuff and trying to bring about the end of the world and
they destruction
of the universe. You know,
they were into this. That is
so. What
true.
if? Who knows? Whatever his name is could have fucking.
I mean, look at today. Our leadership is surrounded by the same evil shit. But if you think about it, if America, the greatest world superpower that has ever existed, if we didn't have a bad guy, would it be possible that we would have already turned into a bad guy, leading to the ultimate new world order to have already passed without being able to go, you're a Nazi?
Mm-hmm. Well, listen to this. So you know how everybody says that the world's overpopulated? Since the 60s, you know, or somewhere around that era, the world has been actually underpopulated. And people
Elon Musk talks about that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was coming from. But
yeah, we are underpopulated. But back to the topic at hand, boys. So the knowledge of these powers is actually passed down from elders or the generations. So it doesn't really change. It's like word of mouth. They do a lot better job than the whole game telephone, you know. They keep it within their societies. Yeah, you know, telephone, it changes every time someone says
whisper into somebody's ear and they pass it on.
Yeah, so who knows how long these traditions and everything have actually been a stable foothold on their society. But some more info. Sometimes these witches evolve from living their lives as respected healers or spiritual guides who later choose to use their powers for evil. So they can actually be the good guys that have used, like what you said, like alchemy for healing and helping people. And then they can turn around and end up changing their ways to becoming there's actual documentation on this when tribes have been disrupted, forced to move, tortured, killed, wars. It changes people, from being good guys to bad guys. Though they can either be male or female, they are more often male, allegedly. They walk freely among the tribe during the day and secretly transform under the cover of night. In order to become a skinwalker, he or she must be initiated by a secret society that requires the evilest of deeds, the killing of a close family member, most often a sibling. After this task has been completed, the individual then acquires supernatural powers, which gives them the ability to shapeshift into animals. Most often, they are seen in the form of coyotes, wolves, foxes, cougars, dogs, and bears, but can take the shape of any animal. Then they wear the skins of the animals they transform into, hence the name Skinwalker. Sometimes they also wore animal skulls or antlers atop their heads, which brought them more power. They choose what animal they wanted to turn into, depending on the abilities needed for a particular task, such as speed, strength, endurance, stealth, claws, and teeth, etc. They may transform again if trying to escape from pursuers. So ultimately, the Skinwalkers have like a free reign on turning into anything they want. They are true shapeshifters in that fact.
Okay, so take it back a little bit. So back to the fact like killing family and stuff. Doesn't that remind you guys of a little something? Like
Yes.
Rappers.
So let me write this up. So in today's world, we have these elites, and we call these elites celebrities, right? And these celebrities could possibly be doing the same sort of ritual, which this is all satanic, or what we call today satanic. It is evil. So a lot
like
of
adrenochrome, is that what you're talking about?
we're getting there. Yeah, pretty close. Kind of. But before that. So able to get into the club that leads you to that, there's many celebrities with very unfortunate stories of having a close family member or significant other or friend that it is believed has possibly been sacrificed for their infinite fame.
Yeah.
And I actually looked this up, and they say it's when they join the 20 million club. So I'm actually list off a few people here who have had
one
close
second,
family
if
members.
I can just say,
Go ahead.
quick,
Go ahead.
I think that the point you're making off of with that, based on what you initially stated, is that it's pretty common for people to sell their soul to the devil for certain prices, and that especially in some situations going to be their firstborn son or whatever, but the closest family member. Yeah. So that, I think that's where you're kind of going with this, but that's fine. Yeah, you can list them off, and maybe that's what these people have done. That's very possible. Who knows?
I just watched the new Hellraiser today, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. Where they got to get 6 people to sacrifice to. Yeah. And I mean, it really makes sense when you look, and it's not just one of those stupid conspiracies. It has some weight to it, because all of a sudden these people are nobodies, right? And then they become something, and it goes back to that black.
That's a perception.
The black guitarist from way back in the day, who couldn't play the guitar. He wasn't very good. He left for however many months. He came back, and then they said he sold his soul. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that story.
He sold his soul to the devil, and then he would like turn around and play, and I mean stuff like that. But it goes into the 27 Club. It goes into that. But I'd like to list off some people. This isn't all of them, of course, and some of them are kind of dumb, but allegedly have been sacrificed. And it's not like they held him down and killed him in most fashion. It's more like they allowed it to happen. They made the deal, like you said, with the devil for it to happen, and then it happened because they, But there's Kanye West, his mom, Lil Wayne, his father, and Static Major, Jay-Z, his nephew, Damon Dash, Aaliyah, James Prince Pimp C, T.I., his cousin, Dalla, Suge Knight, Tupac, Diddy, Biggie Smalls, Ludacris, Camouflage, Lady Gaga, Lena Morgana, Nicki Minaj, her cousin, Soulja Boy, his brother, The Game, Billboard, Eminem, Proof, 50 Cent, Jam, Master J, Dr. Dre, Nate Dogg, his son, Crazy Bone, Tombstone, Alicia Keys, her friend, Bill Cosby, his son, John Travolta, his son, Eddie Levert, his son, Marie Osmond, her son, Obama, his grandmother, Heidi Montag, Dr. Ryan, Anna Nicole Smith, her son, Mary Kate Olsen, Heath Ledger, which I want to stop here and talk about that. The person that found Heath Ledger was like a masseuse or something, and found him and had 3 or 4 different phone calls that lasted like quite a while, like 9 minutes or something, that she talked to Mary Kate, and it was like 30 minutes before she even called the emergency services for him. And Mary Kate was allegedly dating him, but that's where that comes from, is that
she's like, what do I do?
They had this whole conversation about, well, multiple conversations, and Mary Kate was trying to send up private security and stuff. So it really did look like a some sort of sacrifice ritual. Michael Jordan, his father, Wyclef Jean, his father, Mike Tyson, his daughter, Liam Neeson, his wife, Cameron, Big L, Jim Jones, Stack Bundles, Queen Latifah, her brother, Serena Williams, their sister, the Jackson family, Michael Jackson, and Dub's father, uncle, manager, Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, Luis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Prince, his father, Jamie Foxx, his grandmother, and Eric Clapton, his son. Which these could be coincidences, of course, but when we go to it, everyone has something bad happen in their life, of course, but a lot of these are interesting, to say the least, when it comes to it. Like, why is someone so young dying in a famous person's very close to him, famous person's life, over and over and over and over again? I mean, it's hard to find one. And there's, what's her name, Ariana Grande with Mac Miller, and I know she was already famous and everything, but she got a lot more famous. And it could be like, if she was born into it, which I'm sure we could find out, kind of like the fame world, where it's like a certain point you got to join this club and do a ritual.
Like,
I have 2 questions, to be honest with you.
Go ahead.
So out of that list, I don't know of all the people who supposedly sold their soul for their celebrity fame, so a person of their family member could be sacrificed, have also died, right? I don't know the actual number on that, but the last thing is with Eric Clapton. I really don't believe that one, because I mean, that was one of his main songs, is Tears Up in Heaven or whatever, Tears in Heaven. And that's about how he lost his child, and I don't know. It might be just a slight to jab whenever you sell your soul to the devil for a song.
Right. Yeah, which this is just a random. This is just a random list. I didn't make this list. This is just a random list of, well, it looked like music producers, or producers of music that have had this kind of thing happen to them.
Successful, and then loved ones died.
Could be, or early, starting to be successful, had to do some sort of ritual and kill them. But that's just a list. The list goes on and on and on. That's just a short one. I mean, there's a couple I disagree with as well. However, it fits in with this topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's,
and I'm not saying all
the point,
of them,
is to pose the question, right?
Right.
Exactly.
It does give the question, why do these people all have,
you never know,
horrible things happen to them, to people that they love, close to them, and then they're also famous, or they're also have some sort of ability. Like I said, I watched that new Hellraiser movie today. All right. Because of this, the Navajo consider it taboo for its members to wear the pelt of any predatory animal. However, sheepskin, leather, and buckskin are acceptable. The Skinwalkers are also able to take possession of the bodies of human victims if a person locks eyes with them. After taking control, the witch can make its victims do and say things that they wouldn't otherwise do, which is interesting when you look at the news media today, right, guys?
It's like a reverse werewolf.
It
Instead
seems
of
like
you
a lot of
becoming a
people on
werewolf, they
TV
become
are
you.
under some sort of trance, you know?
Something's very different about all of them. All celebrities, like big celebrities.
And they have handlers. That's the thing, too.
Mhm.
They have these people called handlers. And allegedly, that's
They're familiars.
like conspiracy. They say MK Ultra, to where these handlers know these code words. But is it code words, or is their handler a shape-shifting cryptid from forever ago that is able to take control? It's very weird. We covered that a long time ago. All right, guys. So skinwalkers also have other powers, including reading others' minds, controlling their thoughts and behavior, causing disease and illness, destroying property, and even death. Which is interesting because they've been known in different stories to be able to control people, right? To be able to look at them in the eyes and control them. So those who have talked of their encounters with these evil beings describe a number of ways to know if a skinwalker is near. They make sounds around homes, such as knocking on windows, banging on walls, and scraping noises on the roof. On some occasions, they have been spied peering through the windows. More often, they appear in front of vehicles in hopes of causing a serious accident. So driving down the road, and this creature jumps across you, this animal, and then it transforms into something else. It is said that in addition to being able to shapeshift, the skinwalker is also able to control the creatures of the night, such as wolves and owls, and to make them do its bidding. Some are able to call up the spirits of the dead and reanimate the corpses to attack their enemies. Its supernatural powers are uncanny, as they are said to run faster than a car and have the ability to jump off high cliffs. They're extremely fast, agile, and possible to catch and leave tracks that are larger than those of any animal. When they have been seen, they have been described as not quite human and not fully animal. They're usually naked, though some have reported seeing the creature wearing tattered shirts or jeans. At night, the skinwalker's eyes glow red like hot coals. It is said that if you see the face of a Nagloshi, they have to kill you. If you see one and know who it is, though, they will die. If you see them and you don't know them, they have to kill you to keep you from finding out who they are. They use a mixture that some call corpse powder, which they blow into your face. Your tongue turns black and you go into convulsions, and you eventually die. They're known to use evil spirits in these ceremonies. The skinwalkers, though, how to kill them, or their weakness, is they are allegedly susceptible to ash. It is said a bullet with white ash will kill a skinwalker. However, the natives did not have bullets for a long time and have dealt with the skinwalkers beforehand. It is traditional, though, to burn white ash in places where a skinwalker is thought to be present to ward them off. Maybe because it is dangerous to them. So, the idea, you guys, of white ash being used as a weapon and fighting them off or warding them off is traditional in itself.
So I have a question though, like that. First of all, how do you obtain white ash? Is it just because it's like burnt? Is it the outer layer of what is burnt? Got to cut, like a piece of wood after it's burnt that level. And also too, it's funny because they supposedly those skinwalkers actually blow powder in your face if you don't know them, so you don't get to know them, and then they kill you that way. You know what I mean? And it's funny because it sounds like their same weakness is ash, which is powder. You know what I mean? So like their same weakness is their strength to not be known. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's my question. My
Very interesting. Yeah.
So if you remember on the last podcast, Brennan was on and he said something about a creature that he's seen with red eyes. And I also was talking about a creature with red eyes that we've both seen. So that sounds pretty interesting about that.
Yeah.
But you didn't die.
What?
Right? Like if you see a creature and they see you looking at them, you would die, right?
Right. But they didn't die. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nailed it. Exactly. So they didn't blow smoke in your face to get you to forget.
So do you guys remember when Brennan was talking about that? I know Jay would.
Vaguely.
Vaguely, yeah. Or when I was talking about when I seen the thing with red eyes when we were out, like in the tree when I seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But that
It
was a
is
dream, right?
interesting. Was it a dream that you had?
Mm-mm.
Oh no, he actually saw these.
Oh.
No, you weren't there. It was recorded.
How do you obtain white ash? What is there like a scientific or even like religious
So
way to
it
obtain
sounds
it?
like what they burn. Whatever they burn must be pure to create white ash. Like like instead of like a fire where you throw a bunch of shit on it, it's
Well, I mean, once it gets to the outside layer and shit too, I mean, it's gonna be white. You know?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering though.
That's
Do you like
that's
sit
a
there
really
and
good
shave it off
question.
while it's burning, or what?
I'm just guessing that most stuff makes white ash to a point. I think it's the process of burning it that much. You know what I mean? So
It
like
must be a refined art.
you make a fire and it takes a certain amount of time to get that purified white ash instead of gray or
Maybe they burn white oak. That could be it too. Maybe it was like mistranslated, you know what I mean? And like
Right.
white oak ash is what they need to use, because that would make sense when it comes to supernatural beings.
Which it could have gone through. So it could have gone through many generations. Many things could have gotten lost with that story.
That's a cool point too, though. Imagine, like, let's say there was this one tree that somehow you were able to make the ash out of, or the wood out of, to kill the animal or being, right? And then like that one seed got passed through generations, you know what I mean? And you have to create it out of that. That'd be cool.
About the whole white ash thing. So if the skinwalkers are witches and they're in disguise within the community, can the community just carry around white ash and just like sprinkle people with white ash like all day long?
They might.
Right?
They might actually. It might be part of their process or whatever.
that's part of the
However, like a
question, though,
lot
too.
of them don't deal with these. A lot of them have witches that pretty much are defined as the same way, but with different names and different ways to deal with them. This is just like a more mainstream kind of version of it.
I feel like everybody who supposedly dyes their hair or gets boob jobs or lip injections or powders their face technically is considered a witch, like based on like past, you know what I mean? So the worry that white ash is going to dispel them is probably not very helpful now, because I don't think it's going to identify anything. You're just going to look like a dick by sprinkling white ash in people's faces.
Maybe, but you know that saying, like, or that song, they made a song and a saying about it where it's like we all turn to dust, right?
Yeah.
And it goes with the fact, like, a lot of religions are, if your body's burned instead of buried, that you go to hell, you go to some sort of place other than the fact. So instead of like we all turn to dust, which is what you would be if you were buried, being burned, you would be ash. So maybe it's some sort of poison in the fact of that. However, killing a skinwalker is more based on like knowing who they are. Once you know who the skinwalker is, it's very interesting within these tribes because anyone could be a skinwalker. And if you somehow saw them transforming or doing something weird and you're like, that person is a skinwalker, all of a sudden, very shortly afterwards, they die. They pass away.
I feel like the concept of the way that was laid out with Skinwalker was, it sounds like they were mostly predators and almost eating dead bodies, basically. And it was like, you brought up necromancy and all that stuff. And I feel like that if you were to ingest them, that makes you a skinwalker. So you're able to obtain either you are the predator or you're the human, right? And that's what turns people into werewolves or whatever. But I feel like being burnt and stuff and brought back from that's ash. right? And it is dust, and I'm pretty sure that
it's
at that
kind
point,
of dust, but it's.
I mean, it's not real dust, but we are at that point.
All right, so this kind of gets. This is gonna get weird. All right, guys. What I'm about to tell you gets really weird.
Bring it on.
What I'm about to tell you gets really fucking weird. Okay, so let's say that all of this evil, all of this witchcraft has to do with the same thing. And let's just look at it as a demonic possession kind of thing, right? They can look at you and all of a sudden they can make you act a certain way. Is that because they come into you? Who knows? But let's look at it as a sort of demonic possession kind of way. And then now in today's age, they are able to make clones, right? The cloning kind of facilities where they're cloning people, and these people are allegedly used for celebrity stand-ins, or if the celebrity is gotten out of hand, right? And then they become whatever. Let's say that a skinwalker is possibly a clone, because there's many, many stories of these people walking with like their friend out in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden their friend disappears, and then they see their friend again somewhere where they shouldn't be, but the friend is making weird noises and their eyes are weird and they look different, they're acting different. Could this possibly be a form of possession in a way where now in today's age, the form of what we could call skinwalker could be these clones?
Like with Eminem, like Slim Shady and now Eminem, because he looks totally different. He's not the same person. The bone structure in the face is different. And with skinwalkers, it always says that like something has to be like fucked up with that thing.
Well, what's the plan? What's the plan of a skinwalker? What do they do?
Conflict evil.
Well, it seems to be that they're trying to manipulate in some sort of way, control people and take power.
Yeah, like in that scenario,
which is also like a demon.
It's exactly a demon.
Or poltergeist.
He'd be trying to like pretend that he's Eminem to be able to actually like use his full-on power at that point. You know what I mean? Like,
or be able to manipulate the way the masses or the people around him.
Celebrity.
Or you know how you said about the dust or whatever, and with cloning, they always say like they make it think that it is the actual person when it's not, and put all these memories and all these facts into their head, which they could be using that death stuff.
It's just creepy as fuck, because you know that the jinn, which are supposed to be demonic spirits,
Wishmaster,
are supposedly made of dust and ash, dust, and clay. Yeah, it's very interesting. I also have a ghost cat in the background.
Busted.
It all just seems to connect, no matter where or who you are on the planet, with these stories, you know. And people like to say these stories are made to keep the kids in at night. But I like to say, what fucking kid is going to walk out of the tent, past the fire, and walk off into the woods at the middle of the night? They're going to fucking kid on this planet going to do it. And if they do,
then they're fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you already... If you went that far, then you have problems already.
Yeah, that's the serial killer of the group. That's some Dahmer type shit. That's natural whatever.
Selection.
Yeah, natural selection happening at its finest right there. You know, because scientists like to say like, oh, all these stories are just to keep the kids in the tent at night. And I'm like, what fucking kid is going to walk off past the fire into the darkness and just be like, oh, I'm doing my thing. Yeah. Where's the bear that eats me at some,
Well, this is where the next Marvel movie comes into play.
Right.
Because they're that tough. You know what I mean?
These stories are made from the adults that have experienced these things, is what I believe.
I mean, it's true. We have such an eclectic concept, and like, not even like a genuine history, but just a history that's passed through time with everybody who speaks it. And sometimes it can be really silly. And sometimes you're like, what the hell? I had something like that happen to me too. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that we can deny history, I guess, even though I don't like it. It just exists between all of us. I don't know. and their own experiences.
So regardless if, let's just say, the whole Skinwalker story or the lore is false, it was all made up, right? Let's just say that. In order for it to be such a good lore or a made up story, there has to be some sort of truth in order for that story to manifest. So regardless if, just say, a Skinwalker is able to fly or shoot laser beams out of their eyes, there has to be some sort of basis to the story that's being told, and it just needs like 5% truth for it to be believable. Because what if just say it's not the Skinwalker, just say it's some sort of other thing that happens out in the woods that so happens to kind of sort of line up with all the Skinwalker stuff, or just maybe just the one thing about transforming, right? And whoever experienced that and whatnot, initially they don't know what to make of it, and so they started to make another story. Oh, it's this thing, but it's based off of some sort of truth, right? And these stories has been passed on by these First Nations guys, right? And someone experienced it, and they thought it to be important to pass it down to the next generation so they would know. And
nice.
Yeah, and they normally don't do that unless it's very important for the next generation to know, right? So just food for thought.
No, that's totally true. Absolutely fucking nailed it for sure. I mean, there's truth, and what you're saying is corroborating evidence or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that is, even within the justice system, like, it would be hard to swallow the story, but if people had the same story and nobody faltered, then it would be accepted as truth. You know, that is very true. That nailed it.
Oh, I got something for you guys. Now, seriously, check this shit out. So they all with these witches, right? Everyone with these witch backgrounds, with these things in the dark. They spend their whole day telling the kids, you do it this way. You don't do it this way because this could happen. You don't stand on this. You get down. You don't do this. You don't do that because this could happen, because you could get hurt. Right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden at night, we start lying to them.
Okay.
On something that they actually won't do. Right? We know they won't walk away from that fire they can't see. No kid is going to walk away from that fire into the darkness.
Right.
But we sit there and tell them these horrific, crazy stories about the things out there. Don't whistle, don't do this, don't do that. Why? Is it a tale? A tale that we tell the children? Or is it because the adults themselves are afraid of it? Don't hold the blade this way because you'll cut yourself. Cut away from yourself. But
I think both are true.
At night, you just said it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to go over whistling at night as well, to kind of open more eyes on this. Not whistling at night is not just a Native American thing. So I wanted to read this to everybody. But in most cultures, whistling at night is attracting evil spirits or bad energy to oneself. In Turkey, whistling can attract evil deities. In Japan and China, it could bring evil spirits, bad weather, and supernatural beings. Even in British culture, they have something called the Seven Whistlers, or it is believed there are these 7 mysterious birds that have the ability to foretell when something bad happens, or even sometimes death. Outside of cultures, in the theater organization, whistling can mean something bad will happen to the production. And on ships, most sailors band anyone from whistling because it will bring bad weather and bad luck into their ship. Now, in Native American culture, tribes believe that you should never, under any circumstances, whistle at night. They believe a shapeshifter of some kind that can transform into any kind of animal or even a human will whistle back. They're called by many different names through the tribes, and Stakini to other tribes. It is also believed that if you do whistle and something whistles back, it is most likely not human, but a skinwalker or Stakini watching you.
Oh.
If you happen to see one and try to run, they will make you hurt yourself trying to get away from them. They know when you are thinking of them and are scared of them, and that fear is what draws them. Parents and grandparents tell these stories to their kids to warn them to be safe. If you ever find yourself whistling at night and hear something whistling back, it's most likely not human if you choose to believe.
So if you wouldn't believe it,
Oh,
it
shit.
conflict on like this skinwalker wanting to kill you, or like saying that you don't believe in it because they can read your mind or whatever.
We've said the name the entire time this whole podcast, and we're not even supposed to say it.
Oh. So what? Okay. Earlier we were talking about like predators, right? And the fact that the skinwalkers are able to, mostly everything that becomes a skinwalker actually takes on the shape of a predator, right? And especially right now too, when we're talking about sailors and the fact of a bat and stuff like that, I'm thinking of Dracula. And I feel like a lot of these stories probably got told from that same point. But the thing is that if there were Native Americans living here and they had their own stories, but then also Dracula was brought over from across the seas, that is a scary concept to believe that they existed everywhere.
I just got one question, Thomas.
What?
Like Dracula,
Yeah.
do you mean Mothman?